Hello and happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to another weekly episode of Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy. The best way to help grow the podcast is to listen to every episode, like the episode, leave a comment, and if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Since our last podcast, the Cubs have won 5 in a row and 5 of 6, with the one loss being an unmitigated, absolute bonehead of a disaster by the bullpen. Most notably, Caleb Thielbar and Eli Morgan. But that was not just on them. Craig Counsell and others deserve blame for all of that as well. Since then, though, it's been quite a ride so far. The Cubs have won 5 games in a row, and the offense is looking amazing. Going into last Sunday's game, the Cubs were 2-3. They now sit at 7-4 with a 1-game lead over the Cardinals. Over that span, our Cubbies have scored 45 runs in a 5-game span. An 18th spot put up on the A's last Monday inflates that sum, but it's been absolutely amazing to watch. Yesterday, I was lucky enough to be at the game, and boy was it great to be back in the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. Even with the weather, it was chilly, but 100% well worth it, and not just because they won. It was just great to be back there watching baseball, live Chicago Cubs baseball. There's nothing like it. Those of you who have been there completely understand. And those of you who haven't, man, I hope that you get to go sometime soon. It is absolutely amazing. Like I said in the opening, the Cubs have won 5 in a row. Over that span, offensively, they have 55 hits, 35 walks. Of the 55 hits, that includes 20 extra base hits. As a team, they have a win or a WRC plus of 127, which is the 4th best in baseball and 2nd in the NL. Their OPS, on base plus slugging percentage, is 782, which is 6th in baseball and 4th in the National League. They lead baseball in walk percentage at 12.7%. To be clear, they only have a team average of 249, which, surprisingly, is 11th best in the majors and 5th in the NL. They have 13 steals, which is 3rd best in baseball, and only been caught stealing 1 time. Yesterday, thanks to Seiya. It was a close play, got tagged on the head. Things happen. It was a decent jump. Probably shouldn't have been running. Cubs had the game pretty good, but I digress. The point of this is that the Chicago Cubs offense is absolutely clicking over the last 5 games. I mean, clicking. The OPS, WRC plus, all that stuff, those are all for season long. So I'm going to talk about some of those stats for the last 6 games as well. In those 6 games, the WRC plus jumps up from the 127, which was the 4th best, to 165, which leads baseball over the past week. OPS also leads the majors at a whopping 928. The Yankees, with all their new stuff and the bats that they've got, at 919. And multiple, many players are using that for the Yankees. There's a couple for the Cubs. Dansby's one of them. Nico, I believe, is another that are using those bats. I don't know. We'll get into that. That's a different subject. We'll talk about it maybe later. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Small sample size. So there's only so much can be said right now about all that. For those bats, I mean. And I get all this is small sample size, but man, it's been great. The walk rate goes up even more to a 14.7 rate, which is 2nd only to Arizona over the past week at 15.5%. Our batting average jumps up to 290 in those 6 games, 3rd best in the majors. The on-base percentage is a whopping 398, which is practically at a 40% clip. That's a whole lot of base runners and a lot of high stress for the other team's pitching staff. 7 stolen bases in the last 6 games, tied for 5th with a plethora of teams. Let's just admire that offensive talent. It takes talent to get that kind of offensive ability and numbers. The Cubs are crushing. But more than anything, the Cubs are being patient and having timely hits. They're being very patient. They're making people pay for the walks. Are they doing that 100% time? Absolutely not. No team does that. but they are doing the right things. Outside of those first two games, in my opinion, those first two games in Tokyo, the Cubs have played well. They've played intelligently. They've played great defense. Just everything is going well. They're not making mental mistakes overall. Again, things happen throughout the season. They're going to make some mental mistakes, but they're not maximizing on those either. Now we're going to talk about the pitching. Overall, pitching stats for the season. The Cubs have a 4.36 ERA, which is 16th best in the majors. Middle of the road. Their Sierra, which is a little bit more based on the parks and it's the ERA, but based on a lot of other things. It's not just strictly ERA, which can have some luck into it, is a 4.50, which is 29th in the majors. So obviously the pitching staff is struggling some. The xFIP, which is fielding independent pitching, 4.67, 26th in the majors. Ks per 9 innings, 6.96, 27th. Walks per 9 innings, 3.8 at 18th in the majors. And home runs allowed per 9 innings at 1.21, also 18th. I wanted to break that down more for starters versus relief pitchers. For the season, starters are 3.73, 13th in the majors, but the Sierra jumps up to 14.28 at 25th. The xFIP at 4.28, also 25th. The Ks per 9 innings are down at 6.86, 27th in the majors. But for the starters, walks per 9 innings are 2.69, with us 10th in the majors. It's in the top third. Walks or home runs per 9 innings, though, at 21st in the majors at 1.49. But if we're not walking batters, that can, it just minimizes how much of an impact those home runs can be. If they're solo home runs, we can live with that. Relief pitchers, 5.40 ERA, which is 24th in the majors. I actually expected that to be worse as far as the number in the majors. The ERA is high, though. 4.87 Sierra, which is 27th in the majors. A 5.31 xFIP, 29th in the majors. Ks per 9 innings for the relief pitchers, where we have a decent amount of guys throwing high heat. 7.12 at 25th in the majors. They're walking 5.65, 27th in the majors. The one thing that the relief pitchers are doing pretty decent, they're keeping the ball in the park at least. At .74, which is 10th in the majors. All that is to say that the pitching is struggling. Offensively, we're doing great. Pitching has been struggling. But are those numbers somewhat inflated by the first couple of games? Maybe. We're going to go over this last week for the pitching now as well. The starters are 2.50 ERA, 6th in the majors. A 3.78 Sierra at 14th in the majors. xFIP is 3.67, which is 12th in the majors. They're still struggling with the Ks per 9 innings at 8. This is not a staff that strikes out a ton of batters, especially the starting staff. Walks per 9 is 2.5, 9th in the majors. Fantastic. Home run per 9 goes down at 1.25, but it's still 17th in the majors. So we're middle of the road on that. I'd like to see us limit that a little more. But overall, the starting staff is pitching pretty well. However, the relief pitchers, even in this 5-game winning streak, and part of that is going to be because last Sunday they absolutely imploded, and this is included, part of the 6 games. 5.82 ERA, 27th in the majors. A 5.86 Sierra, 30th in the majors. That's last place, folks. 6.22 xFIP at 30th. Ks per 9 is 3.7 innings, or it's 3.71 strikeouts per 9 innings. Also last place. Walks per 9, 5.29, 26th in the majors. And home runs, 0.53 at 12th in the majors. I know that that's an overload of stats and information. But all of this is to say what we already know. Yes, the Cubs are winning, which is amazing and great. If this offense can keep this up, maybe the pitching deficiencies won't matter over the course of the 162-game season. 162 games, that's a lot of games. The offense keeps up with, they don't even have to keep up at 9 runs an inning or game. They just need to score 6 or more all the time. But is that fair? 6 or more runs? That's a lot of offense consistently per game. The pitching has got to be better. The Cubs can possibly win the Central with the offense and the pitching the way it is right now. I think that's a huge possibility. But they won't go anywhere in the playoffs, even if the offense keeps up the way it is. Because the offense is going to slow down, at least at times, against great pitching. And when we get to the playoffs, that's where we're going to run into great pitching. No ifs, ands, or buts. We're not going to end up in one of the top 2 seeds if the offense or pitching doesn't get better, no matter how good the offense is. Because we're going to have games like we had last Sunday where the bullpen absolutely imploded. They've already threatened to do that a couple times in this 5-game winning streak. We can't give away games after games after games. Surely they will address this. We're getting ready to go into a week where we play Texas for 3, and then we go to LA for 3 to face the Dodgers. We're going to find out what happens when this offense faces good pitching again. And if this offense is settled in, or if they're going to look like deers in a headlight like they did in the first 2 games in Tokyo. Because frankly, the offense just didn't look very good at all. Hopefully, they've settled in, they're more comfortable, they're relaxed, and they're going to keep hitting. But they're not going to keep hitting the same clip against Texas and LA. It'd be silly to expect that. Doesn't mean they won't have a game or two where they just are great. We need them to play well, do what they need to do, score 4 to 5 runs, and do it. And hope the starting staff continues to pitch the way they are. Again, Texas and the Dodgers, pretty good offensive team. But so is San Diego. The Athletics. Sorry about that. The Athletics have a good young offense. And we shut them down to 9 runs in 3 games. That's pretty impressive. I know that they're not the same as the Padres or the Dodgers and the Rangers, but it's still a pretty good offense. Shut them down. And the Padres have 2 runs. They came into us undefeated, 7-0. They're now 7-2. Scored 2 runs. And that offense was clicking. It was clicking. The starting staff seems to be settled in. Again, we're probably not going to have that same kind of week every week that the starting staff just did. But we certainly can't have what the bullpen did either. And we don't want the bullpen to keep threatening to implode. Because there's been some positive numbers when you look in the box score. But there's been some. In that 3-1 game against San Diego Friday, I wasn't comfortable. In the 7-4 game, I wasn't comfortable with the bullpen. It made me uncomfortable when we started bringing out that bullpen. I don't know about the rest of you. I know I'm beating a dead horse every week. I'm beating a dead horse. 2 guys I want to shout out to, though, a little bit. Porter Hodge, he's pitched well. And so is Julian Merriweather when he's had the chance, but he hasn't had many chances. I want to see him get more chances. For now, though, let's enjoy the ride. I know that I've kind of doom and gloomed it a little bit, but enjoy this offense. The offensive output, this is what I was hoping for, expecting. When I saw the roster, looked on paper, Kyle Tucker is the man. I haven't even talked about him. I haven't talked too much about individuals. We'll talk more about those guys next week. But the team, that's what's awesome. The team is crushing it offensively. Let's ride that and enjoy that, boys and girls. Go Cubs. Let's get a 6th win in a row today. Don't forget to join our Facebook group at Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy. Leave some comments about what you'd like to hear and think about the topics for today's episode. However you subscribe to your podcast, please like and subscribe to Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy, so we don't miss out on any of our future episodes. Also, if you feel so inclined, please make sure to leave a 5-star review and leave me some comments. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure to tell your friends or any Cubs fans that you know. I would love to hear more and more about Cubs fans and listen and tell me what your thoughts are. Paisley, send them home.
Go Cubs, go!
Living on the water, counting days since last summer.